I'm getting into the nitty-gritty in this video. I promise you won't have heard this famous SP advice before. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hi to any new viewers. This is for everyone who wants to manifest a famous SP and has questions around that, maybe is struggling with that and just wants to figure out, what's possible, what can I do? Spoiler alert, can be anything, but I'm going to give you guys lots of advice today. It's kind of building on my previous famous SP videos. Obviously, there are no new rules where, a video I made maybe 2 years ago on the topic is suddenly irrelevant. So they do kind of all build in together, but I think today with my current perspective and maybe some extra points that I've, learned and picked up over the course of, talking to people and seeing what questions people have about this topic, I definitely have some more updated advice. So we're going to delve into a famous SP in today's video. So manifesting is objective and limitless. It really doesn't matter what you're manifesting, who you're manifesting. It's not to say, well, that person has blue hair, that person is a billionaire, that person lives halfway across the world, so therefore you can't manifest them. Those are the rules of the game. It doesn't work that way. Yes, those circumstances and logical thoughts and just issues and circumstances might be more difficult to overcome mentally, not through manifestation, but mentally, but that's the only limitation. So when it comes to a famous person, you also have to remember, okay, let me give an example. Okay, Brad Pitt. Just because it's Brad Pitt doesn't mean, oh, I should just, completely not even consider that, not even try, give it a go, have fun, maybe trying to manifest Brad Pitt. There's no reason to say you shouldn't even start that manifestation. That's not to say you can't do it, but, you might change your mind or just choose not to continue with it, maybe if it is too difficult with circumstances. But there's an example. There's no reason you shouldn't manifest someone like Brad Pitt. And what you're doing is you're actually selecting the reality where this is already in existence. It's that quantum field, quantum magnetic connection, which might sound like some weird juju, but it is literally science. So the quantum magnetic field that you're connecting to is based on where your focus goes. So you're actually just selecting the reality where this is already in existence. In the 5D, this image and visual and outcome that you're mentally focusing on, mentally embodying, and literally just imagining right now. Maybe it's you just got a flash of you holding hands or standing next to your celebrity crush and your famous SP that you're manifesting. That is the sign that once you observe it, once you imagine it, it is already real. It is already in existence. Anything you can imagine is already real. So yes, it's not like physically here or behind some kind of invisible magnetic wall and it's right next to you, but it exists and it is a reality that you can experience. So it really doesn't matter that your specific person is famous, is globally known, or it doesn't have to be a celebrity, although that is what I'll focus on because it makes the most sense for this video. But obviously, insert whatever field they might be in. Maybe it's a famous business person, I don't know, but whoever your famous SP is that you feel maybe is unrealistic or you're struggling with that manifestation, you are literally just choosing by focusing on, you're choosing that reality where you guys are already in a relationship. So remember as well that being famous is basically just a circumstance that is tied to their career. Frame it in that perspective where your specific person, in this case, it just happens to work in a job where they are known, they are famous, maybe they get photographed by paparazzi or as part of their job, they're on the red carpet, just frame it in that way. Don't, and that's my next point, don't hold them on a pedestal, because just say, okay, this circumstance that I happen to think about with my SP, it's probably the same as what a lot of people go through with SP thoughts, and it happens to tie into their career, the job that they have and what their daily life might look like because of that. So think of it in the same way as if you were manifesting a cup of coffee and the circumstance that was in your way, that there's a massive queue standing in front of you to get to the till, or that you haven't left your house yet and it will take you an hour to get to that coffee shop. Just frame it in the same way. So as I said, take them off the pedestal. Do not keep them on that pedestal. They don't belong there. There's no reason for them to be there. That just as with that example I gave, apply it now in turn to just a normal person SP, maybe a friend, an ex-partner, whoever, a different type of SP that is common for people to manifest. why would they need to be on a pedestal? They're also just a human. They're just a person. So you do not need to keep your famous specific person on a pedestal. They genuinely do not belong there. Now, I will say, because I have a section where I'm going to talk all about this, to really support you guys in a genuinely honest way. But chances are they don't belong there because they are a flawed person. A lot of the time, people in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, they are very imperfect. They've gone through their own struggles just as anyone else, but in a much crazier way oftentimes, unfortunately. So really think to yourself, like, you know, okay, they don't need to be on this pedestal, and here are the reasons why. Well, I've seen, you know, or I know of some not so great behavior from them, or maybe they most likely were dating this person and then this thing happened. You know, there are lots of examples. No one is perfect as a human, but especially as a celebrity. So remind yourself they are a human being with flaws. They're not this perfect person that if you don't have them in your life right now, you are miserable and life just is not great and you won't feel good and you won't feel confident. Take that kind of stipulation away and assumption away. Again, if you need to knock them down a few pegs by reminding yourself of some of their flaws, do that. And I actually think that's a great way to stop your own mind from wavering. And it really is just the logical mind that is analyzing things, that has assumed that they are better than you, or just like, yeah, on a pedestal, on a higher level. Maybe they are more attractive. That's again very common for celebrities. They're some of the most beautiful people in the world, and that's fine. That's objective. I genuinely believe that. But don't hold on to this logical assumption. Remind yourself, it's just the logical mind that came to this conclusion, you know? Maybe it's something to do with psychology as well. Just really kind of rein it in a realistic way where you are preventing yourself from wavering. You're anchoring yourself into a very stable, balanced mindset. So you're not applying logic to manifesting, but just to your perception of this person. So it will minimize wavering because you will see them almost at like literally eye to eye level with you, and not assuming that they're better than you or unattainable. Who cares that they're a celebrity? That doesn't mean that they're unattainable. So that leads me into the next point of reminding yourself of examples where this has worked. You know, there are lots of normal people who but have dated famous people, and some of them are manifestations. Definitely, if we reverse engineer that. But the first one and only one, to be honest, right now that comes to mind, but do comment below if you know of more, because I'd love to hear the examples, is Jessica Alba. Now, I personally believe she was one of the most beautiful women of the 2000s. Like, she was an it girl actress. She probably could have had any other, you know, famous guy. She probably was approached and pursued by many famous men. And she, I believe, dated and married a normal person who probably worked in the industry from what I know, but he was a normal guy. He was not some famous celebrity. And she chose to commit to him. So there are lots of examples. Someone else who comes to mind, it's a bit random, but if you guys were big or have been big YouTube fans, you might remember Casper Lee. He recently married, or I think in the past year or two, married a normal non-YouTuber person who, a really lovely girl who now is on social media, but she was basically a fan of his. So there's lots of examples that you can refer to. And you have to remember that your subconscious mind accepts your repetition no matter what. So that's why it just doesn't matter that they are famous. The best way to stay up to date with new manifesting advice and topics is to click that subscribe button right below. Almost 60% of you actually haven't done so yet. So I'd love your support. I'd love for you to do that and for you to join the club so that you don't miss out on any of my upcoming videos. I'm going into the next section now, but definitely keep watching till the end because I'm going to finish with lots of really important advice and tell you what, and advise you really what to watch out for, and it is a big one. Work on and focus on your own assumptions because it's so easy to build and create negative assumptions. You want to be self-aware. That's one of the key things I've been saying in so many of my recent videos, that you want to apply that self-awareness because it's your assumptions, your mind, you know, your brain and your life. It's literally you. It's part of what makes you you and makes your manifestation actually come in. So really focus on what assumptions you can pick up on. That doesn't mean you have to put in 125% effort into just thinking, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? What are my assumptions? Just be aware, just have that, be intentional throughout your day. Yeah, just apply self-awareness, be present in the moment. And then when you recognize whatever thought or reaction comes up, it can be easy to say, okay, yeah, there's a negative thought, and that probably is part of the assumption that, my logical mind has been holding on to, and that's making this SP manifestation seem more difficult. You'll be able to pick up on it, and everyone is different. So there's no, exact formula or exact answer I can say, you will think this, and then actually you should think that. But apply the self-awareness and you will pick up on your own habits there. So another great assumption and specific way of thinking to have is just to assume that they are single and ready to date you. I will talk about this more in the final section, as I said, but do just have that assumption. Obviously, that's the main, most important, circumstance for you to assume you have, that, yeah, they're ready, they're open, and it's just even more realistic and likely to happen any day now. So to support this, I would also, of course, say to avoid any gossip, avoid Googling them, researching them. That's just self-explanatory. That's like checking the 3D for updates. That's like checking your phone to see if your SP texted you. It's one of the no. It's a definite no for manifesting as a rule. Like, you don't check on the 3D. You don't constantly refresh and go out and look. Is it here yet? Is it here yet? Is it here yet? You don't do that. So try not to do those things, because it's a little bit more nuanced when it comes to a famous person, obviously. But yeah, just don't research or check up on them and think, oh my gosh, I have to get this validation and see, have they broken up with this person, or are they single? What about those rumors I saw? But they still live halfway across the world. It doesn't matter. Do not research these things. Another really important part, I think, that can sometimes bring people down is do not compare yourself to their exes, or perhaps they had a high profile relationship with like a supermodel or someone else that you admire, whatever the case may be, maybe even look similar to their ex-partner. Don't compare yourself. Don't think, oh, they once called them the love of their life. Like, oh my gosh, what if they want to get back together? Do not spiral down those types of rabbit holes. There's nothing to gain, and there is nothing objective. You most likely don't even know this person yet. So what is the benefit of you coming to random conclusions in your mind? That if you're going down that type of rabbit hole, they're likely to be negative and very unsupportive for your end result. If you need to, apply self-concept. Do a little self-concept verbal rampage. Just think of some affirmations, or put a little bit more time aside for your self-concept work. Whatever you need to do, just try not to fall down the comparison rabbit hole. Because as you know, your assumptions dictate your reality, and they will be mirror reflected back to you. So any type of logical thoughts that you have that deny the outcome, and obviously this outcome of having a relationship with your SP, apply your mental diet to those types of thoughts. They will come up, maybe, on social media, I think most people scroll on social media, on YouTube. Obviously you guys are watching YouTube, so you're probably quite active on YouTube. Whatever platform or type of content it may be, just be self-aware in those moments and apply your mental diet, because chances are your algorithm or whatever it may be, maybe even your friends, if they know you like this person, will send you things and show you things related to that. You're likely to see something, also depending on the level of fame and who it is, but just be aware and say, okay, I might see something that maybe doesn't support my outcome. It's just one random post, one random comment, or opinion that's put out there. It doesn't matter. It's not objective and it's not permanent. And then apply your mental diet. Then I'll also say, this kind of ties into the self-concept aspect, but write a list of why you are actually the perfect choice for them, and do not hold back. It's just for you. No one's there to judge you or say, oh my gosh, you're so vain. Like, there is no judgment. Just write a whole list, as many as you can, an exhaustive list of why you are actually the perfect choice for them, why you are amazing. So really hold yourself on that pedestal. So something a little bit more niche, but I presume this applies to most people manifesting a famous SP. If you happen to see something, if it's maybe a movie star, and you see them maybe with a co-star, a peer in their industry, at an awards show, or there's some gossip or rumors, whatever it may be that comes up, assume and apply the assumption and mental diet that that's just a friend. Oh, they're just marketing, they're marketing their new film, because I know nowadays it's very common to kind of push couples together. They're just acting, whatever it may be. Just go with that assumption. Again, there's nothing objective, so it's up to you to create those positive ones. And what actually supports this is that your subconscious mind doesn't know what's objective. Even consciously, it will be convinced, your emotions will be convinced if you apply enough repetition. So your subconscious literally doesn't know what's objective. There is no baseline or rule. It's what you apply with repetition, what you continuously experience, what you hold in your mind, what your mind takes in as information. And when you consciously take those reins back and apply repetition of affirmations, for example, that is you teaching your mind and saying, nope, okay, maybe I experienced this one negative thing, but here's 100 repetitions of this affirmation. So it is all essentially the same as manifesting a normal SP. There's no magic spell. There's no suddenly, oh, instead of 5 loops of an affirmation, you have to do 7. It doesn't work that way. It is an SP. It is a relationship. So the same type of approach or general rules with manifesting that would apply here as well. And remind yourself again, they are, after all, just a human. I know not everyone watches till the end, but if you are, you're about to hear some really important kind of big sister type of advice, and this is important. If the famous SP that you were thinking of or maybe focusing on already is married or, or already has kids and they're already in this relationship and they are, they haven't separated essentially, they're in a happy relationship, I would really not recommend manifesting that person. So I know that might sound controversial, but that is just the moral, genuine, honest advice. I don't recommend it. Ultimately, everyone's in control of their own life. So that's just my personal coaching advice. Obviously, if they are in a relationship, and yes, it would be classified as a third party, I genuinely don't recommend it and don't agree with that. You deserve and should want someone who's genuinely available and actually able to give you everything. Even if it was a case of someone, well, they're probably about to go through a divorce or a breakup or, it's a really complicated situation. Don't you want someone who doesn't have that, so-called baggage or concerns or maybe emotional issues that they're still processing? You want someone who's just ready and available for you. It can be a happy, healthy, really just the process of the relationship, the unfolding, the building will just be perfect, and there'll be no type of obstacle for you to even be concerned about. That's just my perspective and my advice. Obviously, there's lots of examples I could give. Okay, for example, Justin Bieber, he seems to be happily married. He has a wife, he has a child. That is someone as well that, of course, I personally would absolutely not recommend manifesting. So there are some, let's just say doors that I think should not be opened. Obviously, there are sometimes examples where maybe you're the one, if you already have connection or some type of relationship with this famous SP, it's possible, but I don't think likely based on the general feedback I've seen. Then if you're the one who's maybe already with them or literally just got out of a relationship with them, or you are married and have children with them, for example, then that's a completely different scenario. But I'm saying if you're just from like a brand new, from scratch, deciding, this is my celebrity crush, I really like them, they seem amazing, but they're already in that situation, my personal advice is find someone better, find someone more open who can genuinely commit to you like right now, who's not in that situation, and it's just, like a much more light, pure and moral thing to do that is really for your own benefit, for your emotional sake and mental sake as well. So that's my advice for the end of the video, and that kind of encompasses all the famous SP manifesting advice that you need to focus on.